Okay, my name is Kara Hawk, and I have become involved and actually took the job with the Alzheimer's Association, mainly because my mother actually has Alzheimer's. And so I wanted to do something positive and to make a positive impact fighting this disease, because it is currently a disease with no cure. There are treatments, but no cure. And I wanted to do what I could do in my own small way to make a positive impact. I'm very excited to talk about the Lincoln Trail Walk to End Alzheimer's that is coming up. In this area, we have a very rich tradition of people coming together in community to raise funds to fight the Alzheimer's disease. And so we all are coming together again this year. We will be at Freeman Lake Park. We will be at the Williams Pavilion. We're going to have different organizations there that have been our sponsors, and we are going to have lots of great information there, as well as a fun zone. We're going to have bubbles, face painting. We will have the traditional promise garden, which is always very meaningful and important. So we're excited. That will be September the 22nd. It's on a Sunday. It's in the afternoon. People can plan to be there from 2 to about 4 o'clock. Yes. This is open to everyone. We would love to have lots of people just come out that day, but we would also like, because this is a fundraiser, so this is not a, it's not a 2K, it's not a 5K. We are gonna walk maybe a mile, and it's a gentle stroll. It is for all abilities, so people can actually bring family members with wheelchairs, and that would be perfectly fine. Pets are welcome as well. Dogs on, friendly dogs, let me just say, friendly dogs on leashes are welcome as well. But if you would like to sign up to have a team and raise money, because again, that's what this is all about, we would love for you to do that. You can go to alz.org/walk and then put in your zip code, and it'll put you right with our walk. The funds that will be raised that day, our goal for this area is $70,000, and pretty much all of that, I can't say all of it, but a large portion of that does go to research. And I think that that is so important, because that is how we get treatments. That's how eventually we might get a cure, and that is our goal. Is the mission of the Alzheimer's Association is for there to be a world without Alzheimer's and all forms of dementia. So that's where the money goes, and that's why we raise the money. That's why it is so important. People can give that day if they would like to. People who raise money, it is, you need to sign up online, and you need to sign up with a team by yourself. It's fine as an individual, and then raise $100, and you will have a t-shirt mailed to you directly. We would also like to have teams to get involved from the school systems, clubs, organizations, family members. If there's, you and your family have someone that you love that has had Alzheimer's, this is a great thing for y'all to just gather up brothers, sisters, cousins, and everybody come out together in community and show your support for this organization. Okay. In regards to research and ways that we have come up with treatments, it is amazing. It is actually, we are on the cutting edge, and it's so exciting. One of the first things that I'd like to talk about, there is a new biomarker that they have determined that a doctor in a general practice office can have your blood taken, and there will be signs of the amyloid plaques, and that is something that will alert them very quickly. Oh, we need to check. They're not going to do that unless there are some signs of mild cognitive impairment, but If there are, they can do that, and it's a little more definitive than just the test, just the cognitive test alone. So it helps, and it also helps shrink the time down for treatment. So very quickly, you could go from, I think I'm having some problems, to getting your blood tested, to let's get some infusions going. And there are infusions going that are attacking those amyloid plaques. And that is helping people live very comfortable lives much longer. They are able to still work, a little longer. They're able to have memories with their families a little longer. And that's amazing. That is amazing. It's not a cure, it's a treatment. But I'll take it for the time being. But we are also working on education to help people understand, like that our friend behind the camera's age. Protect yourself, eat healthy, exercise, the thing that we always tell everybody, if it's good for the heart, it's good for the brain. And so that is so positive. We want to make sure everyone understands that. So we're not just, waiting until somebody gets it and then saying, oh, let's try to treat you. No, we're trying to help educate everybody before it's even a remote possibility. And I think that's very positive as well.
What's the similarities of dementia and Alzheimer's, and signs that you are maybe having some issues? And I know there's probably all kinds of
Yeah, there are all kinds of things. Well, dementia is the overarching umbrella that covers all of the different types of cognitive impairment. So there's many different types of dementia. So when you hear that and somebody says, oh, they have dementia, well, Alzheimer's is just one of those. There's also Lewy bodies dementia. There are, frontal temporal, there, vascular dementia. There's lots of dementias. So it's important that you go to your primary care physician and find out what is happening. Which direction is this going? Because it does affect, if it's not amyloid, the beta amyloid plaques, then it's not going to help you to have an infusion. You need to have the right treatment. So start early, don't wait, and some of the warning signs, there's a big difference between not being able to find your car keys, because we all have that. Those moments when you're just like, oh, I know I had them, they were just here. So that's normal. Picking up the car keys and not understanding what they're used for, not understanding how to start the car once you get there, that's a whole different thing. And that's next level. And that is something when families need to become very, very involved. Day-to-day functions that you've always been able to do with your job, perhaps, and then all of a sudden the processes become unwieldy and you cannot follow the steps that you have always done before. That's a problem. That's an indicator that your family should get you over to your family, physician pretty quickly. If you suspect that a friend or a loved one is exhibiting signs of mild cognitive impairment or even, a little more advanced, you need to talk to them. You need to encourage them to go to their doctor. That's the first and foremost. If you've been to the doctor and nothing is happening, then you might want to see a neurologist. Also, this is great. We have, with the Alzheimer's Association, a 24/7 helpline, and that is for everyone. So that if you are a caregiver or if you are someone who suspects maybe that your loved one is having some problems, you can call that and they can walk you right through it and say, hey, yes, I suggest this. And these are clinically, they're licensed clinicians. So they are not just volunteers, people like myself who really, don't do this for a living. I'm a fundraiser, not a medical professional, have to say that. But you can call that helpline And you can look up that helpline on alz.org. Get there. That's the first step. And then from there, you can call that number. And it doesn't matter if it's, 6 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day. You can still get someone and they can say, because a lot of times the holidays, that's when things are get noticed because everybody's together. And, you always have this one dessert, and all of a sudden now the dessert is not there, or it's a mess, and it is not even close to what you used to have. So it's like there's indicators after indicators, and so that is a great time to reach out to alz.org. And then it can become a rabbit hole because there's a lot of information there, but just find that helpline and call that number, and I think that will be a great way to get started with some help. Locally, we do not have an office. The office is in Louisville. There are many caregiver support groups in Louisville. I also know in Louisville they have activities for caregivers and early stage dementia patients. So Night at the Museum is one of the things. Memories at the Museum is something they do with the Speed Art Museum, which I think is lovely, and it's a wonderful event. But we can also get materials to anyone that needs any type of thing. Calling that helpline is, again, the first place to start. Go there, say, this is where I live, I need more help. They will contact us. We will reach out to the individuals. So it simplifies the process. So no one is having to Google or scramble. Just alz.org. It's so easy. Not even that much to have to think about. Are there more people being diagnosed with this? Is this more prevalent now than it had been in the past? And the answer to that is we really don't know. I feel like from what we are seeing that there is more of it, but that could be due to, because age is one of the biggest common denominators of the Alzheimer's disease. It is not, you don't just automatically get it because you get old, so please don't think that. But age is one of the biggest common denominators, and we are aging as a population. So the numbers just create more cases. As the population ages, well, then you're going to have a lot more cases of Alzheimer's and dementia. But then also, we lead a much more sedentary lifestyle than we have in years, and as things progress, we've become more, we're making our lives so easy that we're making ourselves sick. So that is something else that I think comes into play is we're not out working in the fields. We're not doing the things that used to keep our heart, healthy and all of those things. So it's probably a mixed bag of us getting older and having a fairly unhealthy lifestyle. The goal is for us to start at RJ's age and, be healthy, take care of ourselves, eat well, keep that cardiovascular stuff going, take those walks, run, jog, all the things to keep the blood pumping so that it goes to the brain. And just because we can sit it and do things, at our computer doesn't mean that we shouldn't take breaks and get up and walk around and move a little, because we do definitely need to do that. Learn new things, learn new languages. That is one of the great ways to keep your brain healthy. Social interaction. COVID brought a huge escalation in the numbers. And I think a lot of it had to do with people being isolated. They were afraid to go to the doctor. They didn't go to the doctor. And then when all of a sudden things were freed up, they were in a bad place. And so I do feel like that certainly escalated the numbers as well. But that's just, the big event is the Walk to End Alzheimer's. It's for Lincoln Trail, and it's not just for Elizabethtown, but it is for all the surrounding counties. We would love to have everyone there. It is on September the 22nd. It is on a Sunday. It is in the afternoon from 2 to 4, and it will be at Freeman Lake Freeman Lake Park, and it will be at the Williams Pavilion. They can register teams or individuals at alz.org. Again, everybody loves that website, alz.org/walk, and then just put in the zip code. Simple as that. You can register a team.